Wouldn't you know it? I'm back for more. Hey everybody, it's good to see you again. It's been a very long time since I've been on video. I think it's been more than a year actually. So I hope you all have been doing well, and here we are once again. Today is a bit of a sad day because I'm doing the one thing that I said I would absolutely never do when I made this YouTube channel, which is I'm making a sort of rant video basically about something that I perceive as negative in the gaming industry, something that I'm not particularly happy about. I'm going to go on and on about what I think is crap about it, which in general I don't really think adds anything to our hobby. But this particular story has to do with a little game called The Phantasm Soldier Valis, which hopefully you all know is, a very special game to me. It's, probably my favorite game series. And, it's been dead for a very long time, but, some news has come up about Valis, and it's interesting, I suppose is one way to put it. So I just kind of wanted to go into about what happened in case you haven't heard about it, what I think about it. But don't worry, I'm going to kind of take it in a positive direction at the end. So basically the Valis games, if you haven't watched my video on them, are kind of older series of games, started on the PC, eventually moved over to console. It's side view action games. And they were the action part of them was not amazing, but the vision, the presentation, the music, and the world was really amazing. So it's been a very long time since any Valis games have been made. So the Valis games were made by this company called Nihon Telenet. Now they've been defunct for a very long time, but their IP rights for a very long time were owned by Sunsoft, who, as far as I know, didn't do anything with any of the games. And a few years ago, with very little fanfare, they sold the rights to City Connection, who you may know. I think City Connection is kind of like the modern Inception of Jalico. Am I getting that right? And I didn't know about it because it wasn't really big in the news or anything like that. Now, about a year and a half ago or something like that, the rights were sold off once again to this other company called Edia. Now, Edia is not really a name that any of us generally who do console gaming would have probably heard of. They make mobile games. So somehow they got the rights to Telenet's games. And last December, kind of suddenly, a website and a Twitter account calling themselves the Valis Revival Project just suddenly appeared. Without a whole lot of information about what that was going to be. They said they were releasing a digital download emulated version of Valis 4, Super Valis 4 for the Switch, only abroad, but not much else. So we waited about half a year, and finally in June they revealed what was actually going to happen, what this Valis Revival Project, the plan for it actually was. And what it was is a port of the PC Engine versions of Valis 1, 2, and 3 to the Nintendo Switch. So that did not surprise me a whole lot. I was not expecting a lot from this. I mean, there's not a whole lot of Japanese companies that make 2D action games for consoles now. So, okay. So ports for the Nintendo Switch. One very strange thing about it right off the bat was they were going to make it with crowdfunding. Make it. They were going to, fund whatever it costs to port old games to the Nintendo Switch through crowdfunding. So they were asking the fans to pay for it. Fine, whatever. But one really peculiar thing about that was they were not using Kickstarter. They were using this Japanese crowdfunding platform called Makuake. So by doing that, you need a Japanese address in order to back anything to get rewards. And, basically you need to be able to speak and understand Japanese. So first of all, just by doing that, they've completely cut off most of the Western market from supporting this project. Now, if you are a person in charge of a company that makes video games or any company, your number one goal is to bring in as much profit as possible. Now, anybody with half an ounce of sense, any amount, of business knowledge right now should understand that the market for retro gaming related anything in the West, in North and South America and Europe, is through the roof. I mean, that's where the money is. So it's a very strange thing to do. I mean, just right there. So a few days later, this crowdfunding started. So prepare yourselves for this. So I went and looked at the crowdfunding project. The lowest tier, just for the digital version of the game with these 3 games, with Valis 1, 2, and 3, 4,000 yen. That's $40 US about. That's the lowest tier. And that's supposedly a good deal off the 4,800 yen that it would be retail. So that's not a small amount of money to pay for a digital copy of a game that we haven't seen any images of yet. Now, this is where it gets ridiculous. So some of the bonuses that they were offering, there was a mug with some Valis printed graphic on it, and a t-shirt with some Valis printed graphic printed on it. Take a guess at how much they are expecting for people to pay for the mug or the t-shirt. Go on, I'll give you a minute. What do you think? How about 8,000 yen on top of the 4,000 yen you're paying for the digital game? $80 for a coffee mug or a t-shirt, same price. So if you want the digital copy of the game and you want anything else, you're looking at least $120. Wrap your head around that. Okay, so what else is there? Well, there's also an illustrated booklet. There's an illustration booklet. How much do you think that's going to cost? A whopping 12,000 yen, $120 for this. If you want all of them together, there's no discount. You pay the exact same price to get everything. So already I'm seeing that and I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. That's so outrageous. So of course, any kind of crowdfunding project's going to have some like super high tier for people who are the super hardcore fans. So Edia has decided to give people the chance to get their name in the credits. How much do you think that costs? $1,000. 100,000 yen. For the privilege of putting your name in the credits of a digital release of ports of 3 16-bit games to the Nintendo Switch. 1,000. Yeah, I'm serious. Or, if you're the ultimate Valis fan, you could pay $2,000 to get a signature of the original voice actress on one of the PC Engine games. $2,000. Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing that you're thinking right now. You've got to be kidding me. That's so outrageous. So it turned out initially there was no plan for a physical version even. They're crowdfunding a digital release of a port. That's completely absurd. The initial goal was a minuscule $50,000. I mean, that's a tiny amount of money considering, this is not a little startup. It's not a little group of enthusiasts. This is a publicly traded regular company. They make video games. I mean, they make smartphone games. So, basically when I saw this crap, I was just like, that's it. I'm done. I have no investment in this whatsoever. So I'm not backing the Valis Revival Project. It's completely ridiculous to me. And, we know that, gamers, Japanese gamers, I'll tell you in particular, they'll pay anything. They don't care. So, yeah, I know that there are people willing to pay $1,000 just to get their names in the credits, which I think is absurd. But I'm sure they're out there. I know that they have paid. But I have a bit of sense left to me, so I'm not. And it turns out that actually it went to a stretch goal of $100,000. So there is going to be a physical release, supposedly, which none of the backers are getting. Can make that up. It's ridiculous. So I realized, after seeing this, that this company has, zero love for these games. They don't care anything about Valis. Obviously, they bought, this IP for probably a relatively cheap amount of money, and they think they're going to, squeeze a tiny little bit of profit out of it, by overcharging stuff. And clearly they have no faith that something related to Valis is going to, sell enough to make a profit for whatever the development cost is. So this is a total sham to me, and I'm not supporting any of it. I'm not putting the link in the description or anything. I back it if you want. It's over, so it doesn't matter. But I want nothing to do with any of it. I found it extremely offensive. But you know what? It's not surprising. Honestly, it's not surprising. There's very few Japanese gaming companies that right now that are really, are gonna, give the kind of love to an old series like this that it deserves, that are gonna make a new 2D action game seriously. So I went into this with zero expectations, and they met them. So why does any of this matter enough for me to make a whole video about it when I'm supposedly not making videos anymore? Well, there's actually a good reason. So hopefully you guys have been watching the videos I've put up showing my progress on this game that I've started making. And I'm sure you've realized that the sketch for the main character looks suspiciously similar to Aso Yuko, the main character from Valis. So I'm going to kind of reveal things that were going on in the background of this whole project. I had come up with this whole idea and kind of laid out the sketch for the entire game before I even started YouTube. So this is happening for a while. And my whole plan was that I was going to put together a demo of about the first stage or two, and then take it to whoever the copyright holder was of Valis and try to work out some kind of licensing deal so that it could be a real new sequel to Valis, that it could be Valis 5, basically, because, 4 was the last one they made. So that was my real serious plan. This whole time along is what I've wanted to do. And Project 5, hopefully some of you figured it out, it was because the idea was it was going to be Valis 5. And I know that, having absolutely no experience, no connections in the gaming industry whatsoever, the chances of that happening were very slim. So I've had a backup plan, changed names and the story a bit. But, the type of action could stay the same. So basically, after seeing this whole thing happen with the Valis Revival Project and realizing that this company that owns the rights to it now is not really care about, gaming really, or the Valis name, I really am not interested in dealing with them. So basically, I'm going with plan B. I'm going to rebrand the game. I'm going to, create a new main character, a new universe, a new backstory. And it's going to be its own individual thing, but it's going to be sort of, an homage to Valis. Sort of like the way that Blazing Chrome is an homage to Contra, or like Curse of the Moon 2 is an homage to Holy Diver. So I thought that this video might be a good way to kind of segue into putting this information out there. That I have still been working on the game very, very hard. There haven't been an update video in a couple months, but it's coming along a lot. And I actually just finally found a third artist who's going to do the cutscene artwork. So it's really coming along. And it's not going to be Valis, but it is going to be an awesome game. And it's going to be, a love letter to the 16-bit era, and I hope that it's going to bring back the magic that those kind of games bring back. So thanks a lot for checking out this video, and there's a lot of fun stuff to look forward to in the future, so I hope to see you in the next time. Thanks. Curse of the Moon 2 was an homage to Holy Diver. I couldn't even say it.